Facebook's Andromeda update changed everything about how targeting works. And if you're still using narrow interest targeting or lookalike audiences, I'm telling you right now, you are fighting an uphill battle against the algorithm. So let me show you now the new targeting approach that's actually working right now. All right, so I'm in my computer here, and before I jump over into the ad account, stick around to the end because I will walk through a complete account setup. We need to first talk about what is the Andromeda update. If you guys haven't watched one of my older videos, I have a longer video that goes through this about a month ago, the Andromeda update in full. But in a nutshell, what this is they partnered with NVIDIA, an AI company, and they made a smarter algorithm, okay, that helps Meta find and place the right ads in front of the right person. So it improved its retrieval process, and that's because a lot of people are uploading lots of ads at a time, and the old system wasn't able to do a good job of matching the right creative, the right ad, to the right person. So because of that, the update was made, and it's thrown people's results all over the board because they've been using the older models. So again, at a nutshell, what it's doing is it doesn't matter how your campaigns are set up in terms of ad sets, blah, blah, blah. Facebook and Meta is looking directly and saying, here are the ads that are in this ad set or in this account, and we're going to find the right people to put these ads in front of. Okay, so the algorithm got smarter. You just need to make good ads. All right. Now, here was the old way of running these campaigns, right? We used to have one campaign. Some people did ABO, and that's where they forced the budget at the ad set level. Some people did CBO, where they put 3 or 4 different audiences inside of here. Ad set number 1 could be a broad audience that has no targeting, just age. Ad set number 2 could be a lookalike audience with Advantage Plus on or off. And then ad set number 3 would be an interest-based audience where you could stack a bunch of interests. And whether this was ABO, again, that would be just forcing like, $50 to $100 a day here, or CBO, where it's like, here's $100, $200. Find me the cheapest cost per result. This was kind of the older way of doing things. And to an extent, this still works, but there's a much simpler way to do this. Now, Meta has been trying to get people to consolidate ad accounts for a very long time. If you're an ads manager, it tells you to do that. And now more than ever, we can do that because of the Andromeda update. So this is the Performance 5, and this is what their core values. So like 5 things that you should do as an advertiser to get the best results. And you can see it's account simplification, automation, creative diversification, data quality, and results validation. Number 1 is account simplification, and it shows you a graph of having multiple campaigns, multiple ad sets, multiple ads into consolidating into one. And it's all over the place. Like, consolidate your ad sets to drive better performance. Combining similar ad sets may help you spend your budget more efficiently and reduce your cost over time. Okay. This showed a 41% increase in conversions when testing a simplified ad account structure. Okay. It even shows it here. Keep the same creative in the same ad set. Imagine 2 ad sets with the same objective and creative. One targeting individuals 18 to 25, one being 26 to 35. Combining these 2 sets and broadening the audience to include the full lifespan actually helps our delivery system work more efficiently and find more opportunities for your budget. Again, Meta is telling us to do this. So again, when we kind of separate these things out and try to just put these ads in front of these audiences, it doesn't really do that anymore. It actually goes well beyond that. If you guys have actually seen inside the accounts, oftentimes, even if you're using like further limit the reach of audience, it says using as suggested, right? It says that for interests. It says that for age, you can sometimes turn it off, sometimes you can't. For the lookalikes, Advantage Plus lookalike has been applied. So more and more, Meta is pushing us to go broad. So this was the old way, and the new way that Meta is currently recommending people to do things is to have one campaign per objective or per funnel, right? Per business objective, having one ad set, and then having 10 to 20 ads inside of here. Some of these ads can be top of funnel, some can be middle of funnel, and some can be bottom of funnel. And all 10 of these ads are going to work together in the campaign to find the right people. And previously, Advantage Plus would give us very junk leads and not very good leads. But again, with this new Andromeda update, we're starting to see better quality leads if you are pushing back the right events to Facebook. Okay, this is huge. And I'm telling you right now, I made a video on this about 2 weeks ago. The time of filming this, it might be a little bit longer. But if you guys have not watched this video, go watch this video right now, because this is the way. It's like, we go broader with targeting, we simplify account structures, and we say, hey, Facebook, I want you to find more people like this. this works really well. When we're optimizing for qualified calls, qualified leads, right? We're holding back data from crappy leads, crappy calls. This works really well for first-time purchases. So you can only send pixel data back to people who've bought the first time, right? You can also do overall purchases too, but this stuff works really well. The only time that you have to be wary and careful on is one with DM ads, okay? Because it's such a top of funnel event that hey, you're just saying, hey, I want you to just DM me this keyword. You're gonna get a bunch of DMs, but it doesn't mean quality's good. So, we are encouraging our clients to still launch with this model, but oftentimes we might be pairing it with another campaign structure, or we'll actually just have Advantage Plus turned off because again, it will go a little bit broader beyond our reach and we can't really at this time optimize for qualified DMs. I do have an older video that kind of walks through how you theoretically could with optimizing it for leads and kind of putting a lead form inside of the messenger, like inside of your DMs. We just haven't seen the best cost per result from that. So again, follower ads, DM ads, anything that's really top of funnel, oftentimes we may have a different account set up, right? Or we'll just turn off Advantage Plus. All right. So again, simplified account structure, one campaign, one ad set, Advantage Plus, and we have multiple ads inside. And then once we need new ads, we typically what we'll do is we'll launch them in the existing ad set. Okay. So that's there. Now, what I'm going to share with you guys can still work. There's two other like really popular campaign structures that I'm seeing right now. And I just want to just shed some light on them because they can all work, right? End of the day, these can all work because, again, the retrieval system is really good at doing its job. Okay, it's going to find whether what you put it in one ad set or a second ad set, it doesn't matter that much. Facebook is telling you, hey, we prefer this method, but there are some people that like to have their setups differently. So I want to share just two other campaign structures that I'm also being seen done in the space too. Okay, campaign structure number one is where you do that same exact campaign, one ad set, and 10 to 20 ads inside. But one of them is a pure testing campaign. And the other one down here is a pure scaling campaign. So a testing campaign, you would launch 10 to 20 ads at a time in that campaign. Whatever was the winner, you would then move that winner over into a scaling campaign and you would keep adding ads to the testing campaign. So this can help because one of the things that you're going to notice, and this matters again more if you're optimizing for leads or if you're optimizing for like DMs, is that if you launch a new ad inside of an ad set and it's a really good ad, it's going to get most of the spend. It's just going to get a lot of the spend. But if we're optimizing for things top of funnel, like leads, DMs, the quality might not be as good. So I think a testing and scaling campaign, again, can work even better when we're optimizing for more top of funnel events, right? But for the most part, like I would only do testing, scaling campaigns for those objectives if it's a longer sales cycle, all right? But it can still work. Now, if the ad is performing, the challenge I'll tell you right now with the testing campaign and scaling campaign is sometimes I have a winner in this testing campaign and I don't want to shut it off, right? If it's like booking me calls, like I don't want to shut it off or move it into the scaling campaign and shut it off. I'm like, man, well, this is working. I'm just going to keep increasing budget. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but a lot of times my testing campaign just turns into a scaling campaign and it becomes messy. So that's just been my experience with this. I don't do this currently. I do, again, this one. And then the other way that's very popular and common that can also work, honestly, just as well. The only issue is that you're going to fragment out your learning. You're going to have more ad sets, is you have one campaign, one ad set per concept. So inside of here, there may be 3 to 5 ads that have minor variations or differences between the ads. And you have one ad set. It's the same ad set that's going to be across all audiences. So every time you want to launch a new concept again, it could be like, all right, these are all B-roll ads and I'm going to make small variations between the B-roll ads. The concepts could be, hey, these are all video ads and I'm going to put different hooks in here. So it kind of allows us to have a little bit of a difference in the creative in there, but all of the creatives you can see at the ad set level to see what's working and what's not working. I was doing this a lot actually before the Andromeda update, and currently, again, my campaign structure is this way. But I know there's a lot of people that still really like this because we can kill concepts at the ad set level. Yeah, but again, I've just found better results with this based on my budget. Okay, so for me, we probably get like if I didn't do this way for my optimize for schedule, I would probably have a lot of like limited learning stuff, which isn't a huge deal. But for me, I just don't have a big enough budget to where I really need to have all of this. I spend about $1,000 a day. And for some of you, that might be a lot, but that's really not that much. So I can optimize for schedule doing that here and get 3 to 5 schedule events that'll be pixeled in. So I wanted to share this first. Now we can jump over into the actual ad account of how to set this up. And I'm going to share this again. The way I'm going to share with you guys how to set this up is going to be the same whether you use one campaign, one ad set, or if you use a testing campaign, scaling campaign, or the multiple ad sets with a CBO campaign, multiple concepts inside. All right, so let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so I'm in an ad account here. Let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create an ad. I'm going to make this be an ad that's going to be designed to have book calls. And again, this campaign structure of doing Advantage Plus matters a lot, only if you're sending back qualified leads. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick before I even show this. Okay, so when someone goes to my VSL, right, this would be the page that they're driving traffic to. We might often test an opt-in versus no opt-in. Right now, this is working really well with no opt-in. Okay, someone clicks on this. There's an application that pops up here. Only people that pass this application are going to see a calendar. If they do not pass, they will not see a calendar, okay? This is really important because we're trying to optimize for qualified book calls. We need to filter out everybody and not just get a bunch of calls booked that are crappy leads, all right? That's really, really important. And if you're gonna do this for leads, right, the same thing should happen to where you're going to only pixel the page and only send the data back with API with people who have money to invest. So this one says, name, phone number, email, is this you? Because this is our avatar. They have it. They're at least $5K a month and can spend at least $1,000 a month in ads. If not, we don't want them pixel. We don't want the algorithm to find more people like that. So we're not going to send that data back. Okay. So that's really, really important. If you haven't watched that video on pixel conditioning, go watch it on my account. Okay. So let's go ahead and set this thing up. I'm going to optimize this for schedules, and I'm going to be doing a VSL campaign. So my name for the campaign is optimizing for what I'm optimizing for. And then the lead magnet or offer is going to be what I'm offering here. All right. Next, campaign budget or ad set doesn't really matter because we're going to do the style of this over here, right? So if you guys are going to do a different style, then you would pick the one that matches most. But how I set this up is one campaign, one ad set, 10 to 20 ads inside. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to leave this on campaign budget. I'm going to launch this at typically about $100 per day. And then I'm gonna jump over into the ad set level and I'm gonna name it the same thing. So schedule, offer, VSL, and then I'm going to name it what the audience is. Like what are the things I'm going to do inside this audience to launch it. So I'm gonna do Advantage Plus broad, and then I will add some value rules. Yeah, value rules. All right. So for all of these, I'm gonna be having this event happen at the website. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the website. That's all we want. I don't want instant forums, quality is not as good. I'm gonna pick my pixel ID, all right? And then I'm gonna pick my event. And again, for me, I'm gonna be doing schedules, okay? And for me, the schedule event only fires so they're qualified, right? I do have another conversion event in here for qualified call. This is manually pushed back from my closer. So like once he has a call, he just moves them over in a pipeline and go high level. I don't have enough fires for this to have it be at the primary pixel right now. So right now I'm using schedule, and in the future I may use qualified call. All right, but I just need a lot more volume, okay? So next we'll come down to value rules. And again, this is where I'm seeing a lot of results with now here, because previously when I was using Advantage Plus, I noticed that my ads were getting served to older people or younger people that I couldn't really help. And when I set up a value rule, I can actually create a bidding process to say, hey, anybody who's outside of this age range or gender, do not spend any money on them. So with age, typically we work with people who are 25 to 44, right? That's pretty typical. So for anybody who's outside of that age range, I'm going to decrease the bid. Okay, so I'm gonna actually decrease the bid by 90%. That means these ads will not be served in front of these people unless it is sure it's gonna get a conversion, okay? You could do a smaller bid, but that's typically what I'll do there. You can also do this same exact thing for gender. So if you only wanna work with women, then I would decrease the bid of men by 90% so that you're not putting the ad in front of those people. Okay, so this is gonna be 25 to 44 age plus women only, right? I'm just gonna call it that. So I'm gonna call it the opposite of what it is. All right, and I'll push create and boom. So this is really gonna help because these are hard rules for the most part, and people, relatively hard, like Facebook's typically not gonna go beyond that. Attribution model, I'm gonna keep the same. Attribution settings, I turn off 1 day view through, and I just have 7-day clicks and 1 day engaged view, right? So view through is when someone sees an ad, doesn't click it, but still takes an action within a time period. So they see your ad, and they're probably gonna see a bunch of your ads if they're thinking about booking with you. What I've noticed is sometimes the ads will take credit for something it didn't get. So I only have 7-day clicks on, as in they clicked on an ad, and then 1-day engage view. Honestly, I go back and forth with this one. Sometimes I have it off, sometimes I have it on. I think if you're sending back API data, you're fine. If you're doing pixel only, I would turn this off. All right. So if in doubt, I would just put 7-day clicks, 1-day view. All right. Coming down to budget, I typically will launch this on the following day. So we'll just launch this at 12 a.m. Okay, and then audience. Okay, so we want to keep this Advantage Plus on, right? The only time I would turn this thing off is if I was doing a DM ad or maybe a leads ad and I was not optimizing for quality. To turn that off, all we need to do is click on further limit reach of audience, okay? Switch setup. And for some of you guys, again, you might see underneath age and gender, it'll say use as suggested. And if you really want to turn off Advantage Plus, you would need to change that. So I'll just give you an example of this. See how it says use as suggestion? That used to turn it off. It doesn't turn it off as of right now. So, well, that's what I would do to turn that off, or to just further limit the reach of audience, because if you do leave use as suggested on, it's going to go well beyond, that age range. Okay, that did it. I don't know why it was just the age. Weird. I like the 65 plus. But again, if I turn this thing back on, turns it on, right? So again, if you want to turn it off, you can, but I would only do that for DM ads or super top of funnel ads or optimizing for leads where you're not optimizing for quality, all right? So most of the time, I don't do that. Most of the time, I leave this Advantage Plus on, and I have the value rules. Again, there are going to be those hard things, and people won't get the ads if they're outside of that. And then in the locations in this control section, these are also hard limits. So minimum age, you can set to 25. So this is going to be a hard limit. You're not going to serve any ads to anybody under 25. Language, I typically still do English as a hard exclusion just because I don't want this to be put in front of people who don't speak English. And then I don't have any exclusions on my ads, okay? So this right here is what I will launch my campaigns at. I don't add anything else. I don't add any audience suggestions and custom audiences. Now, the only time that I will recommend people to do this is if you have a newer ad account, it's not going to hurt to throw in a couple lookalike audiences, right? So what I'll often do in here is I already have a couple lookalikes, but you can come in here and click on create new lookalike, create a new source. And then if you go over to customer list, you could upload a list of all the people that have bought from you, or all the people you've booked calls with. You can do it over your email list, and you can do a couple lookalike audiences. And I think it's a good move if you have a new account, because most of the time when we're launching ads, it's going to look at our pixel data, right? Which is pixel data, or the schedules, the events we're optimizing for, right? All the way up here, schedule. It's going to look at past events where in our account that it's fired for, and it's going to put our ads in front of people like that. But if you don't have any pixel data, like it's a new pixel or like you're just newer, it's not going to hurt you to throw in some lookalike audiences to start. All right. So I have a couple lookalike audiences in here. I've got 1% of paying clients. I've got sales calls booked. I could even do IGDMs, so those would be like 3 different lookalike audiences that I could just throw in here, because again, this is going to be a suggestion. It says show suggestions. So it's going to suggest these are some audiences to look at, and it's going to go well beyond that. So if you have a new account, I would throw in 2 to 3 lookalike audiences. If you don't, if you have a very, like your account gets, hundreds, if not thousands of fires per month, I would just go broad. It's less in the equation. And now every time you launch an ad, you just go broad, have some value rules, and you have a minimum age, and you're good to go. Okay. Again, only time I'm going to do the further limit reach of ads is if it's a very top of funnel event. I'm going to trust the algorithm because of the updates that they've made. It's a lot easier for Facebook to find the right person for my right ads, regardless of how I have this whole thing structured. Okay. So for me, this is the move. This is how I'm setting up my campaigns. This is how I'm doing audience targeting, etc. Okay. Inside this ad, again, I would have 10 to 20 different ads. I've got some other videos on my channel that kind of walk through how I create those ads. But in this video, I really just wanted to talk more about the audience targeting and setup. And again, if you have, I'm just gonna keep hitting this, if you've got good data that keeps being sent back to Facebook, that is your targeting, okay? So the events you send back to Facebook, that's what Facebook's gonna say, okay, these are people that convert for this offer. We're gonna find more people like that. That is targeting. Your targeting is going to be very influenced by the information that's inside of here right now. So you can see this is my pixel. This is all the events that fire. These are all the total events that have fired in the last month. These are the events that Facebook is looking for to do your targeting for you. It's all inside of here, okay? So send only the best data back, use broad targeting, okay, and make your creatives good and make sure that those creatives only call out your ideal avatar. If you can do those things, you don't have to worry about targeting. Okay, you just have to make good ads and send good data back. If you guys haven't watched the Pixel video where I cover this in detail, it's gonna be the next video here. Make sure you watch this to have a better understanding of how all this works.